Hey everyone, Tina here and welcome to another Star Wars lore episode, and this one is on Wedge Antilles. Quick nerdy fact before the video starts, Dennis Lawson, the guy who played Wedge Antilles in the original trilogy, in real life is actually Ewan McGregor's uncle. So, Wedge Antilles is the uncle of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just thought I'd throw that in there, it's a fun fact. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's continue with the video. Born on Corellia, Wedge Antilles seemed destined for a peaceful life either as a farmer or a trader, whereas in fact he would become one of the very best star pilots in the galaxy. Wedge Antilles was often accused of being lucky. It was a label he was never comfortable with. Anyone who learned of the early tragedies that dogged him would quickly understand why. Wedge's parents ran a small fueling depot that was part of a larger space station orbiting Corellia. The thriving market there brought in enough trade to make the lives of the Antilles quite comfortable without being ostentatious. When Wedge was only 7, his sister Ciao left the family. Estranged from her father, Jagged, and mother, Xena, Wedge missed his sister and remembered her fondly. The boy attended a farming school in Corellia but also helped out at the station. He learned to pilot small spacecraft at the same time as he learned how to ride and tend animals. He was an accomplished mechanic, but dreamed of being an architect. The galaxy was full of potential, and Wedge thought he had all the time he needed. Corellia has produced many smugglers, so it was inevitable that Wedge's family would know a few. In fact, Booster Tarek, an infamous, if principled, smuggler, was a family friend, and his daughter Mirax regularly stayed over when her father's business was hotter than usual. Wedge learned a lot from Booster, though a life in the shadows was not for the idealistic young man. At just 18 years old, Wedge Antilles' life was utterly torn apart. Wedge was aboard Booster's ship, the Pulsar Skate, when a pirate ship commanded by Lurker Husk deliberately flew off from Wedge's parents' refueling depot with their fuel lines still attached. The resulting fire threatened to destroy the entire station. Wedge watched and listened as his parents sacrificed themselves to eject the refueling depot from the station. In an explosive instant, Wedge was alone. Booster learned that the pirates' action was no accident, but was designed to cover their escape. He had also discovered the pirates' location. With cold focus, Wedge burrowed a Z-95 headhunter. Against Booster's advice, Wedge simply destroyed the pirate vessel. It was a very different Wedge Antilles who returned from that mission. Using the insurance payout from the fuel depot, plus the bounty he earned from dealing with the pirates, Wedge set up as a trader. He bought a small freighter and, with Booster's help, tried to make a go of it as a legitimate businessman. Running his business from the Corellian moon of Gus Talon, Wedge refused smuggling contracts, meaning he struggled to make much money. On the moon, he stayed with a mechanic called Rallo. Wedge soon fell in love with Rallo's daughter, Marla Tenero, though this was not enough to tempt Wedge into joining the Rebel Alliance, with which Rallo was very active. Wedge, asked now directly by Marla to join the Alliance, had reluctantly said he'd think about it while on a business trip. While Antilles was away, Rallo's workshops were raided by the Imperials, forcing the mechanic and his men to blast the stormtroopers who threatened Mala. The Empire reacted to the subsequent loss of the patrol with its usual brutality. They leveled the entire town. On his return, unable to even find Mala's body to bury her, Wedge Antilles joined the Rebel Alliance, just 2 years before the Battle of Yavin. Wedge initially flew supply missions for the Alliance, carrying out weapons runs for the fledgling rebel group. It wasn't long before his skills as a pilot prompted many to suggest the 20-year-old Wedge should think about flying starfighters. Answering a call from the Alliance Starfighter Corps, Antilles quickly found his true calling, to the Empire's considerable cost. Joining the Rebel Alliance's Starfighter Corps, Wedge Antilles was quickly at the heart of the action, serving in the legendary Red Squadron. Led by Garvin Dreis, Red Squadron was already making a name for itself when Wedge joined its ranks. He was quickly a part of the hit and fade tactics that were winning out against the Imperial convoys, even pushing the Imperial Navy to develop an escort frigate specifically designed to counter the rebellion's actions. Though dismissed by some as a cocky show-off, Wedge soon showed that he was not only an exceptional fighter pilot, but a natural leader. In Red Squadron, Wedge Antilles found a number of firm friends. These included Y-Wing bomber ace Jack Porkins and newly defected to the Alliance, Derek Clivian, otherwise known as Hobby, and Biggs Darklighter. All four were stationed with Red Squadron at the new Rebel base on Yavin 4. Together they flew missions to commandeer X-Wing fighters for the Alliance, as well as equally valuable astromech droids, just before a battle that would change things forever. Now, Princess Leia, though lost in the destruction of Alderaan, was returned to Yavin 4 by a smuggler, a Wookiee, and a farm boy called Luke Skywalker, ironically, someone Biggs had once known. Leia's droid had the final set of schematics that gave full plans to the Imperial superweapon called the Death Star. Soon, Wedge and the rest of Red Squadron were part of a desperate plan to take down the Death Star, saving the rebellion in the process. By the end, Luke and Wedge were the only survivors of the squadron. They swore to honor the sacrifice their friends had made. Helped by the commander of Renegade Flight, Ahul Nara, Luke and Wedge turned the new Reds into Rogue Flight. Hobby, ill at the time of Yavin, was joined by the likes of Wes Jansen and Zev Seneska. Flying whatever the mission demanded, the flight group became a squadron, and the squadron a legend. By the time the Alliance broke the Imperial blockade of Yavin 4 and escaped into the galaxy in search of a new base, Wedge and Luke had worked together many times. They had even managed to escape detention aboard a Star Destroyer, stealing two then very rare TIE interceptors from the Imperial squadron they infiltrated during their escape. Though Rogue Squadron had lost one pilot, an Imperial agent, they gained another in Tycho Kelchu, a defector from the Empire. Tycho and Wedge were to become near inseparable friends. Eventually, the rebellion settled on the planet Hoth. By then, Rogue Squadron had established an impressive and deserved reputation. Sadly, Commander Nara was killed just before the base was made fully operational, and Rogue leader Luke Skywalker was promoted to Nara's former position. However, it would soon be Wedge taking the lead with the Rogues. When the Empire attacked Hoth and Luke's snowspeeder was downed early in the struggle against Imperial AT-ATs, Wedge stepped up. He and Wes Jansen innovatively brought down their target walker using a tow cable and harpoon. Now, on escaping the planet, Luke went to Dagobah to begin his Jedi training, while Wedge rendezvoused with the Rebel fleet. Now, with Luke distracted by the burden of his heritage and destiny, and now with the mission to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt, leadership of Rogue Squadron effectively passed to Wedge. It wasn't long before he was working with Admiral Akbar and a newly promoted General Lando Calrissian to plan the Starfighter attack on no less than the second Death Star. Wedge's own flight group was renamed Red Wing in tribute to his lost comrades from Yavin 4. As promised, he honoured their memory, firing the torpedo shots that helped destroy the battle station and, it seemed, strike the Empire a fatal blow. Whatever might come next, Wedge Antilles and Rogue Squadron would be ready. And that is a bit of the origin history of Wedge Antilles. And I'm not entirely too sure how much it's changed now, since they've brought Wedge Antilles back in Star Wars Rebels, and with him being at the Imperial Flight Academy with Hobby, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much of that history of his origin history I just mentioned has changed. At the moment, I'll probably figure that out later, and I might do a new video on it somewhere down the line, but until then, I'm just going to stick with this one. I like this one. I like this origin story of him better anyway. And with that, if you like the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment or two, and I'll talk to you all on the next one.